Hello everyone and welcome back to the Aristochats podcast, episode 11.
Greetings.
You think it's like a joke that I do that every time, that I forget what episode number it is, but I don't. I forget every time. I think it's 11.
That's because we have multiple half episodes.
Yeah,
that something has just gone tragically wrong.
As in, there's a bunch of unreleased episodes.
No, we have like half ones. We have like 3.5 and I think 6.5.
Okay.
When they fucked up half the time. So
because one we lost I think they were both footage related.
One was audio.
One was audio. So we lost the audio for one and lost the footage for another.
Yeah, very funny today actually with the CW rambat that happened. Apparently, Matthew Wookins opened up the stream to watch back his VODs, and he was like, "Oh yeah, guys, the stream was muted for 4 hours, and no one in Twitch chat said anything."
Oh, that's so bad.
That's fucking brutal.
That is the worst. That would be like the nightmare for like someone running a stream, I think.
Yeah.
To get to that point, that content's just gone. It's just dead.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you guys actually had a rambat on
Today.
let alone it streaming, competing with a major.
To be fair,
Not a major.
Yeah,
Oh.
not a major.
It says
Not a major, but a
It
major.
says
Is it
on
major?
Twitch, Pissmas Major. So it says in the title, guys.
They've
Come
won.
on. Yeah. But, well, firstly, I've got to introduce MAST/Connor over here as our guest for today.
Condog.
Yeah, sure, Condog, whatever, man. You'll probably recognize his voice from the Dumb For Real podcast. He's one of the hosts of that. I think was it your idea? Did you make this podcast, the Dumb For Real podcast?
I said let's make a podcast. And we made
I'll
a
take that. Yeah, so it's
That's
yours.
good.
It's your baby. You created it.
Sure.
There
Yeah.
we go.
Who did you approach with that?
Oh, who I went to first?
Yeah.
I think I went to Ernest because, and then I went to Anthony straight after because he's
Okay.
like my roommate.
Okay.
So I was like,
he would have been pretty new to Victoria at that time, or had he already been around there for a bit?
no, yeah, he was my roommate at the time. Anthony, you mean right? Yeah. I was just like, because Ernest has this bit of like, he has so much like information ideas in his head.
He rambles.
Yeah, he just doesn't have like really a source to like preach it, I guess. And I'm like, oh, dude, you just need to put it out there.
Right.
I'm very much like a doer. Like we need to do things.
Right.
And I'm like, well, I like listening to you talk, and I want to talk about stuff. Like we should just start a podcast, like the 20-year-old early life crisis.
Yeah.
Like, fuck.
Yeah.
I mean, that was probably
That's better
fairly
than, like,
similar
the-
to
Yeah,
us
that's
as
better
well.
than
We
like
always
the
have these
27-year-old
conversations. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, oh, may as well. Like, there's literally no harm in doing it.
Right.
And I think I said that because someone came up to me being like, you should start a podcast. Because I was like dabbling into content stuff. And so we did it. And then Anthony was like, I went to, oh, you should just join us. And then, yeah, we just sent it.
So is that sort of the motive for you? You just wanted to make like anything, just like make some sort of content?
I think it'd be cute, yeah.
Yeah. It was fun.
Because you'd already been doing your videos at majors and big events, hadn't you?
Yeah.
The,
I just wanted more.
Yeah.
Like, this is like a weekly thing now. So
Right.
it's just like, why not? Like, we talk about Smash so often.
Yeah.
May as well, like, and I think you mentioned, like, in the past, like, and I kind of agree with this same. There's, like, not enough, like, Oz Smash content.
Media and content.
Weirdly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want it all, man. I want like journalism, like articles. Give me articles. Give me like VOD analysis and reviews. Give me like people dissecting narratives of like Ghosts versus Shreks. Like, build the narrative. Like, get people like involved in that stuff. It gets really exciting. That was my thought about it anyway. I don't know how you feel.
No, I feel very much the same way. I feel like everything that the US should have, we should have. But it's also like if you watch other scenes comparatively, like Europe, for example, you got like, not to say like full-time streamers, but like you got these very like long, overwhelming arc videos explaining like a little mini narrative that's going on.
I think that's so cool.
So I think,
like even America, sorry to cut you off. Even I don't think they have sort of reached the point that they could be at in Smash specifically. Like I'm looking at like League of Legends stuff, and I'm like, why don't I have this in Smash? Like there's all these fucking articles and the rankings and people doing pre-event previews and all this sort of stuff, and it's always existed, but not to like the extent I think it could.
absolutely. But like, as it is always with things in Smash, it's like, it's so tiny, man.
Yeah,
and
it
like,
is, yeah.
it has to be done out of passion or interest or boredom,
much,
I guess.
yeah.
So, and it's crazy. I was even having a discussion with my other roommate, Jacob Mardo, and it's like, he works at like a card game store, and he's like, I was like dabbling into Magic a little bit. I'm like, oh, so when's the local? And he's like, oh, well, we run one like every Friday, like Friday Night Magic. I'm like, oh, cool. Like, is there like one in the city? He's like, it's every single card game store. There are people playing, and they're all like 1,000 card game stores in Victoria with like 20 players going to that store. I'm like,
That's so insane.
wait,
Imagine.
Smash is fucking tiny.
It is.
Actually.
What's crazy is how much bigger it's gotten since like the grassroots of Melee and Brawl, and it's still such a tiny little fraction now, even though it's kind of mainstream.
Even though Smash is tiny, it's still one of the biggest fighting game communities, if not
it gets
the
like
biggest.
good views too, to
So-
be honest. Like if you watch like a grand final, like a really big, event or something, like the views
Like
they're pretty
40K and
serious.
stuff
Yeah,
like that,
I
some
think
of
even
those,
more. Something.
yeah.
Depends on if you count like their stream on YouTube and Twitch as well and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Well, I always wonder, like, where does this disconnect happen? Is
Yeah.
it something inherent with, like, the nature of fighting games or FGC, kind of lacking that potential casual aspect, which Smash does have, which I think is why we have so much big viewership. But, like, I always think back to that Magic example. It's like, there's still a barrier to entry with, like, a little bit of cost. Maybe not as much of, like, a Nintendo Switch or whatever. But it's like...
Although it does get quite expensive.
Yeah.
Like, they
Exactly.
frequently ban cards that you just bought. You have to buy
Yeah.
a new one.
Yeah.
So it can get pretty exy.
But it's they may not have like as big of tournaments, but like the kind of lifestyle living playing Magic is like so much better compared to Smash, and it's just like
in what sense do you mean that?
as in so for instance in Australia, like comparatively, like you could probably have like for someone doing the content route of sorts, right? There's a lot more to explore, or like you're not as much region locked.
Okay.
Then it's also things with like your local card game store, like little winnings of prize pots, and you can kind of travel around everywhere and build up your
So
collection.
it's a bit of a financial barrier
Yeah.
for Smash players.
And it's like backed by like World Tour. And, like
Yes.
you can do all that kind of stuff, but that's more like the company, I guess. I think it's more of a problem with like traditional fighters as a whole. Maybe, I'm not sure. I mean, Australia's kind of cucked in general, don't you think?
I kind of
So-
I don't know why though. I just don't know what, like, to me, Smash, I mean, this is obviously totally personal preference. Like, I'm so much more interested in Smash than in card games.
Yeah.
But I'm just wondering why more people don't feel that way. Because I think there's something so much more dynamic about something like Smash as opposed to card games. And I feel like that would appeal to so many more people than it seems to,
Yeah.
I guess, which I just find odd. I wonder why there's not more competitive Smash players in, like, Australia.
Yeah.
Straight up. I would have no
Because
idea, really.
Smash is
I think we have quite a big community, given the circumstances
Yeah.
that we're in. Like with the total population as well as all the cities spread apart, I think we actually have quite a big scene. If you look
because Smash is very skill based compared to, I guess, like Magic. I'm not saying this like,
Well, no,
but if
well,
you
no,
get
no,
like a
this
bad
is,
hand,
this is the point in that I'm assuming this is probably where you're going. You can, anyone can play a card game. Like you're not reflex gated.
No,
or
exactly.
anything. There's no physical like limitations. If you have no arms, you can make that work somehow. I don't know how you do it, but you can make it work. But with Smash, you kind of like fucked here.
I have another point with that.
Yeah.
Is that like in Smash, like when you go to a tournament, what feels good? I would say like for the majority of people, it's like that like sense of progression. Like, ooh, I'm gonna beat the PR player this
Yeah.
time or whatever.
Yeah.
But in Magic, it's like win or lose. I find that it's more the case like, oh, if I get to do the thing that my deck wants to do, it's like, oh, I got to pull off my little combo.
Yeah.
Like that feels good.
Right.
I had a good night. Like no matter if I won or lost.
Okay.
And that I feel like it's way more outside of like the winning
The
or losing.
results,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, I guess you still can't control, but it's like, it's such a pit hole for all Smashers to get in. Like, you see it in fucking everyone. Like the jaded 2-year player who's like, oh, I have to go to the local because I need to do this for my ranking. And
Yeah.
then, oh, I didn't get an upset today, so I guess my time was worthless and so on, right?
Yeah,
So,
I went from like 27th to 29th in the 40, and that was a total waste of my last 3 months.
yeah,
so,
exactly.
You know,
Oh,
yeah.
come on. Hit a bit close to home. Then.
All right, so let's talk about the really fucking big news of the week, which is the Smash World Tour. Let's just get into that, or the lack thereof of it. Okay,
Lol.
so hey, first of all, I'm just gonna ask you what your opinion is on it. Like, how much of it have you read about? Have
Yeah.
you followed it very closely?
Have you even heard from DD and J Jizzle themselves, like what they've said about
Oh,
it?
Were they going to that event?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, for them personally, I think out of literally everyone besides maybe like the tiers and stuff, they might be the most fucked parties in all of this.
Right.
But like, I don't know, I think I hold the same opinion. I'm still waiting out on an Alan response before
Yeah.
I want to still hold
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
complete
There's
judgment.
still air to be clear.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm really
'Cause-
glad to hear that.
What if there's some like magical situation of like an NDA or like, I think there's got to be some kind of lying at the moment.
Yeah.
But I find it really, really odd that we're kind of in this stuck position where Nintendo hasn't directly said like, you have to cancel this. They said you can run it, but like what's in writing is like kind of different of like, it has to be licensed and we're not allowing unlicensed things, and it's still unlicensed, right?
And I think they couldn't get the license because of health and safety.
Something along those lines.
Those lines. But you're right. It seems like someone has to be lying. It's so weird.
Yeah.
If you read what everyone's saying, because it's like, why the fuck isn't this event running then?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
You know, it's just.
It's like we need a test dummy to go through to be like, the event runs, and then they have to close it down to show like this is the new bar.
Yeah.
Or if it runs and it doesn't get closed down, then it's like, oh, so we're still good to run unlicensed events, I guess.
I think Nintendo can't have cancelled it. I don't think because they've come out and said that they didn't. And if they did, and Smash Bros. 2 had that in writing, that's like a slam dunk. And maybe you can't post that for legal reasons, but you could say, hey, no, we have like verifiable in writing. They said that is cancelled, which as far as I'm aware, they haven't said.
No, yeah.
But for what it's worth, Nintendo, when it came to Project M, did not explicitly say...
That ran for so long.
Well, that was very preemptive, wasn't it? By the end of PM's life, they were like, oh, we're really scared of Nintendo coming down on us any moment now.
There was like a Nintendo suggestion, hey, you should probably stop. And that's like as far as it kind of went.
Yeah,
Nintendo never explicitly banned it, as far as I believe. I could be wrong, but I don't think I am.
But, oh no, go on.
Sorry. So, is this not just like a very similar scenario here, where it's like Nintendo's kind of like...
Nintendo never made a statement about PM, though, did it?
Did they not?
No.
I think...
they never said, oh, we didn't actually not allow it anymore.
I thought the main reason was like, everyone was on the angle of like, the partnership with Nintendo was like, it's such a clear path, and like part of that path is removing PM since they don't like it.
Right.
And so it wasn't necessarily that like PM was getting shut down. It's like all the big tournaments like we can't have PM.
We need a PM player to really clarify. I know they were like, I don't know how I know this, but they were against PM as a concept, but I don't know if they never publicly spoke about it.
Melee streams.
They did.
Like
That's true. That's true. And they obviously tried to they pulled Evo Melee. Did they end up going ahead? Melee at that Evo were they
2013.
Yeah, did it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it did, right? Because they had that big drive. And then apparently someone was saying this. There was like one of the wives of one of the people at Nintendo saw everything happening, and she was like, guys, you got to run the event or something. Don't know how much.
It's crazy how it's such a minute influence to such a grand effect.
Yeah, but it's...
Yeah.
I mean, the other thing, like, look, it's funny because we all like hate Nintendo. Like, if you get on Reddit at the moment or Twitter, the amount of like Nintendo and Panda just ripping to shreds it's actually over the top, to be honest, considering we don't have all the information, in my opinion. But I don't think they're deliberately trying to fuck over like hundreds of players at the last minute notice. I don't think they're that.
It doesn't line up.
It's like vindictive, and I don't think they would do that to like hundreds of their own like players and playbase. I don't. Yeah. That seems fucking weird. Yeah. And the way I've thought about it is, I feel like nobody has any motive to do this except for Panda, and that's not even trying to shit on Panda. It's like that's just like it seems to be a fact. Yeah. Nobody has a motive except for them. So yeah, I guess we'll just wait for more information. I don't know.
Alan.
Yeah, it's
Dr.
weird.
Alan.
And then they've lost like all of their players.
Yeah, I saw the Wadi like I'm leaving Panda post.
There is a Reddit thread on the amount of the players leaving. Basically, like all their Melee players are gone. Yeah. Actually, like
what about Little Z?
Dude, I have to say it real quick. The best P9 tweet I've ever seen was like, can't really have trusted an org that picked up Little Z. That's a rip. That's a rip. I'll play that. Because he hasn't said anything either, right?
No, he hasn't made a statement.
What would you do in that position? Maybe if you're in like, I wouldn't say financial ruin, but like
which party, sorry?
If you're a Panda player and you're like in a bit of, let's say, financial difficulty, like.
I'd probably wait a bit longer.
I would not be burning bridges with my sponsorship yet.
Yes.
Yeah. I'd be like, hey guys, I make some public statement on my Twitter where all the big news happens. Yeah. I'd be like, hey guys, I'm like really disappointed by this.
Still reeling from this announcement.
Still reeling from this news, but I'm gonna just hold my cards close to my chest and see where it pans from here because I don't want to burn any bridges. And
you wouldn't say that.
I might say exactly that because that seems completely fair.
But you have to pander to Twitter.
No. When have I ever pandered to Twitter? Huh? Come on.
Panda.
Seriously, fuck him. Ben's in a mood.
He's tired,
but it is.
He doesn't want to be.
He's not meant to be here.
It is super disappointing. I'm actually so selfish about it because you know Yoshidora, the Yoshi in Japan.
Yeah, the goat man.
This guy's a fucking monster. Yeah. And this guy never travels internationally. He might be the best player in the world. Yeah. And he was coming to this event. Going to see him against like the best.
Okay, low.
And he's not. It's over. This guy's never going to travel with because he's got like a wife and kids or something. He's never going to travel, and it's all in ruin. It's dog shit.
We'll say though that I always find it that like in times of like crisis, we get the best fucking memes.
True.
And that's exactly what's happened again. It's just like the most fuck shit ever. Like the world could be ending, and it's like someone with a banger. Yeah, that was it.
I don't know who I was talking to about this. Maybe it was Jason. But like the whole Kanye West stuff. Yeah. And like this is actually very sad, really.
Yeah.
But some of the memes from this are fucking dynamite. Solid. It's so good.
Yeah. They are solid.
Yeah. So first, we get this in with every guest we have on. I'm sure if you've ever listened to the podcast, you know what's coming. How did you get into Smash, Connor? When did it start? When did you pick up? What Smash game did you play first? How old were you? Brawl?
At like 6 years old. Very ironic because oh mate, how much detail can I go into?
For it.
Do you want the whole timeline?
Yeah, give us the whole timeline.
Like a 5-minute spiel.
Yeah, go on. Talk about yourself.
I hate being self-indulgent. I'm usually the one asking these questions. This sucks.
Not today. Let's go.
So kind of like classic. You had a friend.
Right.
You want to beat him. But even before that, I think I had like a Wii. I had Smash on it. My dad always like, I don't know why, he just always went to Thailand. When we were at Thailand, he would like go to the swap meet there and like buy games, like pirate it onto a disc as like his way of like cutting costs instead of like buying them from like an all EV.
What a monster!
Don't know why. It costs like $2 or something.
What a beast!
Sure, I've got
still the same game.
Yeah, exactly. So I got Brawl. I played it like a shit ton, and then one day my disc got scratched, and I was like, no, it's my favorite game ever. Fuck. And then I had like one childhood friend at the time who I'd see like once every like couple months or whatever. And whenever I go to his house, I'm like, all I would do is like, we need to play Brawl. Like we have such sacred time together. Like I have to use this valuably just to play. And like, mom thought I was really fucking weird because like whenever he'd leave the room or whatever, I'd like, I gotta keep going. You know, like I'm sorry, man, but like there's so much you don't understand. And she thought I was fucking crazy. And then even further along, Smash Bros came out, we whatever, played that. And then I had that like one friend from high school. We'd have Friday night Smash at his. I just couldn't fucking beat him. Yeah. He was that little bit better than me. It was like I was better than everyone else because I had the game. And then he also had the game. And we'd always 1v1 at the end of the night. Everyone would fucking watch. And I just couldn't do it.
That sounds hype though. That sounds like great atmosphere.
Yeah.
Actually.
And like I'd get like a set here or there, like every couple of months. And I'd do like my little small pop-up or whatever. But like, yeah, he was just always better. And that carried on to like, actually I mentioned to you this earlier. Like I just saw like it must have been like a Facebook event, like Bam 8. Like, oh shit, that's happening. That's in Melbourne. It's a big tournament. Like we should go because we didn't know what tournaments were back then. We rocked up with a spectator pass. Saw Mr. R, freaked the fuck out. And that's why we were there.
So you know Mr. R, so you're following competitive
I was
Smash?
following Smash,
Okay.
yeah. I just had
and
no
when
idea.
did you do that for Brawl or just Smash 4?
Just Smash 4, yeah. I had no idea about it for like what Australia was like or anything like that. I remember...
So you're all at Bam 8 then?
Yes.
Yeah, look at us. What a reunion, guys.
I regretted not going to that.
That was a ripper run event.
Yeah. I have two memories from that event. One was playing my friend, despite having a spectator pass, by the way, on like the friendly setup, and then Mr. R in the next setup to the left, like running through Oz top players on like a rotation. Yeah. And like I was too shy to ask him for games or a Fred or anything.
I actually never played against Mr. R. Even at that event, I wasn't in the Australian crew. I was like, I want to commentate instead. Yeah. I just wanted to dodge Mr. R. I'm not getting through stock by some Sheik. I'm not getting through stock by some Sheik.
I didn't play Mr. R.
He was fucking everyone.
Yeah, it's too good.
Actual gapped.
Well, it's actually like Sheik because there was no like there are certain characters who you can like deal with when you play internationally at that point, but like the Sheiks, man, like I had this when I went to Genesis and played against the like Washington Sheik. I can't remember his name. Kakajin. Yeah. And I was like, dude, I just haven't played a Sheik like not even like that good, obviously, because there's none in Australia who are that good, but like even just a really good one. Like I don't have this experience. I can't do it.
Yeah. And Australia only ever really got a glimpse of that with Eternal.
Yeah.
For like
and then Mr. R was like, at that point, like certainly better than Void, just the best Sheik in the world outright. And he was just tassing us. Actually, it's 2 assists and speedrun running through the crew.
Not to sidetrack, but like, I hate it when like, I got this character experience, like Rob experience, whatever. But it's like, if you haven't played like a good enough player of that character, it actually just doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Like,
the big pet peeve for majors, it would be like, I don't know, somebody like, oh yeah, me and Seb even on stream, and someone will say like, oh yeah, Ben's got this. He's played Swait. He has the Rob experience. Yeah. I'm like, they are leagues apart as players. So like it doesn't translate whatsoever. And even worse when someone's like, oh yeah, they have like that O2 player of that character. I'm like, there is no value in there. They could be playing the little sandbag.
I mean, look at like look at like this works in so many ways. Like look at Bro 1 and the Simon Richter player that he lost to.
Moonlight.
Like I mean, let's be honest. Bro 1 is a better player. Like
Oh wait, sorry.
No, go for
Proximity up B. That's what I was trying to say earlier.
Oh, yeah. I like upbeat him or something.
Yeah, as soon as I like hover near him, he proximity upbeat.
Yeah.
Which is what Moonlight does. Oh my god.
Yeah, he does actually.
Yeah.
But even that, it's like
such a broken move.
I mean, mages are just so like shit for this reason.
Yeah.
You run to someone, you're in their state, in their home ground, they're feeling comfy, and they've got the whole crowd, and they're playing some character you've like never fucking played.
Yeah.
And they know all like these fucking bullshit setups.
Yeah.
And you're like, come on, like I don't know, man. Like, what do you want? Like, how do I get off the ledge against Simon Richter? I don't know. Like, how am I supposed to know?
I think that's exciting actually.
It is.
It's like
it's so frustrating. It's like someone who's you're meant to perform. It's like it's so frustrating because like I played against some bandmate. I played against some fucking Little Mac, and I'm like, do they play the same as Vasi? I don't know. Are they better? I don't know, man. Played totally different. Didn't perfect pivot. Had to adjust to that. But yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
How have you found your time in Queensland so far in the Queensland scene in the players?
It's pretty good.
Pretty good.
I haven't been able to rank like the states yet because I've actually gone to every single major this year.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. After Queensland Feb, I'm like I have to go to every single one because I'm like, it's been really good. The vibe's really good. The people I talk to are like super nice. Queensland kind of has this like, not different culture, but it's like I feel like I can kind of be generally joking around with like most people, which is like really nice.
Are they a bit more uptight in Victoria?
No, I wouldn't say that. No, I think it's hard to judge compared to Victoria because I have my group.
Right, so you can
it's
kind of
like-
just
Yeah, it's like I'll just hang around my friends.
Yeah, sure.
You know what I mean? Like I could be nice like with most people. But it's like I guess I'm throwing out a bunch of feelers everywhere.
I know what you mean. Like, I guess more so like not compare it to Vic because that's where you're totally comfortable with your own group. But like maybe the other states that you've been to, Queensland just seems a bit more like relaxed or just easier to just joke around with or something. I suppose.
Another thing I
more
realized.
sociable or something.
Yeah.
Sure. It's really hard to say. Like I don't know. Like I've only spent a couple of days at each state. But one thing I will say is that I don't know if this is the case generally, but I think like getting angry or mad or salty in Victoria is actually more normalized than like everywhere else in Australia.
I would agree with that.
And I think that's come from a
Competitive environment.
top-down culture from certain characters.
Such as?
You mean like players?
Jason Nick, for example.
Jason.
I feel like, especially, it's actually crazy how much it festers everywhere of like this like better player mentality or like smirking or like saying some bullshit mid-set. Like for this guy, for example, if I get like Pyro side B one more time, I'll be like, fucking Wi-Fi cringe can't carry. Like I'll start murmuring to myself.
So it's not the only difference is I don't remember that.
I would say it's common, but I'd say like if someone just like gets really mad and does like the salt complain after a set and kind of not being as respectful as we could probably be.
Okay.
I'd say that's like, well, you've just copped that player. Like that's normal.
I definitely think that Victorians are the most likely to salt tweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's like like Nick obviously has it. Like Seb Pro does it. I don't think Jason does it much anymore. I think he has, right? Like in the past, he used to do it a bit. He used to do it a bit. I'm sure there must like be a bunch of others. Like Jono's done it. You know.
Yeah. But I think it all comes down from like the level of competitiveness and expectations.
I'm not even saying this as like a detrimental thing. There are downsides to it, obviously. You don't want to upset anybody. You don't want to make anyone feel like. Maybe they do. I was going to say, you don't want to make the resident Pyro player feel like shit, but maybe you do.
But there's definitely a lot of...
I think you should quit the game. I'm not joking.
I'll tell you a good one you can use. The really good one is you get hit by something, or even you hit them, doesn't really matter the situation. You just turn to them and go, you're fucking awful. And you just say it like blunt, hard, so you are fucking awful. Yeah. And that's a ripper. You can't...
Doesn't mean...
Yeah. Or just noob.
Yeah,
that's
noob.
good. Yeah. So
I think it's all generally just like a byproduct of competitiveness.
It is. It's
and Victoria is very competitive.
They are the most competitive.
And I like
have been
that.
for a good
I think
while.
so
I like
too.
that about
there is a reason
Victorians.
like they are like the strongest state and have been for like fucking 6 years.
I mean that just changed from one really bad major, right? And then someone was like
Pretty
made a
much.
call to action.
Was it Essex? I guess was that the
2015.
major?
Yeah. No, in top 8.
Yeah, and it hasn't.
That was my
fucking-
prediction.
Hasn't happened
I'd
since.
call Queensland the best state.
Yeah. But man, it seems like a long time ago. Seems like a long time ago.
But I will say though, like for what things are like as a current state, I'm not happy with it actually for two reasons.
In Victoria?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, the culture or the saltiness there?
Well,
I guess
one
it
same,
kind
I
of
guess.
intertwines.
Yeah.
One, I think we actually have god awful player retention at the moment. Coming off of like a really big Arcadian, we've only had like 5 new players coming consistently.
Okay.
And then it's really annoying. It's almost like adding salt to the wound, which I'm really happy that we're kind of feeling like this and having it like be said out loud as a problem. But you watch like New South Wales come in, Arcadian, pretty much the same size. Boom. Like all these people with like incentives or like actively trying to pull new people in, and their scene is like they got 100 men monthly and we're getting like 40, 50. And it's just like they're actually taking like active steps to like keep people in, which I feel like we're very much like a keep people away. And the other thing is I'm really on the train of like we need to be more positive at the moment.
Right.
I feel like it's gone too much in the other end.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we're actually completely lacking of
Alienating people, yeah.
Yeah, just like I wouldn't say it's not even being nice. It's just like everyone's mental health, or not mental health, surrounding the game is like.
If you play Smash, you are.
Yeah, no,
you need to
not
see
like
a
that.
psychiatrist.
But I realize like I'm just reading Discord and we're just like complaining about people, talking shit about the game.
Right.
Like it's like fuck, no wonder like I'm just getting angry.
Do you think that you
Completely killed the
can?
game.
Do you think you can have a culture that really heavily benefits and pushes people towards like competitive drive? Let's say what Victoria has now.
Yeah.
And also incentivizes like the newer, weaker players to keep going to the scene.
Yeah.
How do you think you can have these two things at the same time?
Does this relate to the Arcadian argument?
Kind of, yeah. I'm trying
Okay.
to think. So, how do you think you can have the best of both worlds?
Because
in
I
your
think
view?
there can be a form of competition
where
you don't come away from it being not I will preface to say competition's not for everyone. You can't obviously capture anyone and like force everyone to like some people are like fully on the casual end. But it's like if there's another reason to go solely than just like the state of your result, for instance, I think that's all the more power to you. If I were to pick at New South Wales specifically, they have a huge emphasis on Amis brackets and like doing your boy things as well.
Right.
And more about like focusing on like the people themselves and like how they're playing the game. And also making a big push for like, oh, let's do crew battles today.
Yeah.
Let's make sure we all go out for dinner and not do like
little clicks and
little
stuff.
clicks, which I think are fine as well. People have the right to say fuck off. But I think it's really important to be like that little bit of
Even just inviting them, make sure that they feel like they can usually
it's like
go,
throwing a dog a bone.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, at least they get this experience. If it doesn't happen like later, sure, that's fine. But it's like, at least it's not like, oh, I came to the Rambap, I went O2, no one really talked to me, and now I'm gone.
That is a big thing with like not even your top players, but people who've been around the scene a long time. Just like making sure you interact with the new players.
Yeah.
Which wasn't something I always like. If someone came up and talked to me, I feel like I was very receptive and like did well with them, but I didn't really go looking. Which was probably I was like, oh, where's Aero at? Where's like fuck? Who else did I talk to at Smash 4 events? Where's Aero at? Jason or somebody who was there.
I asked why you're not coming to mine.
I do think Queensland hit a really good stride in 2019 with competitive balance and social as well. Easily the strongest Queensland's ever been in a really long time.
Yeah.
As an overall state too, not just you and Jace.
Yeah.
Whoops. And then
Fucking hell.
You're holding that for the rest of the podcast.
and then several. Where is it?
For anyone wondering, Ben's just like kind of fucking fucked his
He's
mic
broken
stand.
his microphone.
Yeah, he'll fix it. Maybe.
Sorted.
You're awful.
That is.
You're awful.
You're fucking awful.
Whatever. So we hit a really, really good stride.
Unbelievable.
And that is the trailer for the episode. That's it.
Where
I can't take this seriously.
So we had the Queensland 40, we had the PRs, people taking it super, super seriously.
Yeah.
And we even had, like Shane and I and Battle Dolphin had like a podcast basically of one of the reveals as well. And we had Julia do the art. She did an amazing job with it. And it was like a 2.5 hour long, maybe not quite that long. We went through the entire 40 from first to 40 because we wanted more the emphasis of you kind of know who the PR is, but once you get to number 15 to 40, that's when it gets exciting. So we saved that for last. And that was really good. It had really strong viewership at that time, as well as taking the game very competitively seriously. At the Rambats, here we go out to dinner every time. We'd have like 30, 40 people from the Rambat.
The restaurants were fucking happy.
Invite the new people like, hey, you good stuff today, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Smash 4 was so abysmal, the community. No attempt made to
We used to sometimes
people.
go to Pancake Manor.
But there weren't like newbies coming to
it.
We had like 30 people go to it, but they were like the people who have known each other since Brawl.
When I joined, it was the PR players in the corner at UQ Smash.
That was nice.
And then the rest of everyone else.
Yeah.
Elitists. And like it felt intimidating. Like I was 17, and I was like, man, I really want to play games with some of those guys, but I literally
you did
feel
ask
like
me though.
Yeah, well, I literally felt like I would be annoying them, just wasting their time if I went to do that. And Smash 4 by the end of the game, and like you said, everyone getting like toxic about the game. They're like, this character's bullshit. That player is not good. I lost because of their back air. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And it just has a really bad culture surrounding the game. And then anyone who does come and try and get invested in the game, they're immediately just slapped in the face. There's negativity around the game. It does feel dog shit as well,
because like you imagine you're that player who's like that 0-2 or something. You pick up a different character and you start doing well, and then you just get in Discord or even in person, someone's like, man, it's literally just your back air.
Or literally the commentators insulting you while you're playing. Yeah.
And every Steve Main in America.
It is very common. I have seen like plenty of like players in private spaces be like, this player is awful, that player is awful, that player's carried, everything under the sun.
Yeah. But what I think it's most important is that to take the first step of being like, this isn't okay, or like to say it's a problem, so you can begin to do something about it. Because there are some good counter arguments, I will admit. But I think it's very ignorant to be like, I'm coming to events just to see my friends, which is like fine, but I'm not going to talk to new people because I'm only here to like, play my good sets and leave or whatever. But
and then everyone else does that too.
Yeah, and then it's like, well, this is how you kill your scene, by the way. Because then
you need to put in actual effort.
Yeah.
See a new person, I'm going to talk to them.
Yeah, none of this means anything if it's not here in 6 months because no one wants to play. Yeah. Because you're just like a bunch of like click, which I kind of find is like kind of the case in Victoria. And I will admit, I'm somewhat of a victim of this myself. Because not a victim, I'm a
perpetrator.
Perpetrator, yeah. Like Anthony makes the meme of like, oh, Connor only plays friendlies with PR players. And it's like you've never talked to a new person in your life.
It's hard because you can understand like why you want to get better at the game.
Yeah,
exactly. You're like it's not a waste of time, but I'm here to like I'm trying to improve something. I want to play against like the better players. I'll get better. So it's tough. I think it's a really big onus on like the top level players, like your top like 8 or something too. When maybe you come up and ask for friendlies and some new go ask for friendlies or something, they choose the other guy, to be honest. Yeah. As much as it's kind of shitty for you, it's making them feel as welcome as they can first.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing would be that like you don't have to be everyone's friends, but you have to allow for the space such that people can make friends and like their own friend group if they need to as well. Yeah.
I also think like we're talking about the competition aspect of it and getting like, better at the game and everything and competing with people, which obviously we all want, and having that rivalry or something between players is great. Like that's fucking excellent. But a great way to like sort of create that is like, are you almost more competitive with like the with people you're friends with? It's like, I care more about beating like Aero and Ben than fucking Tom, Dick and Harry that I've never met. Yeah. I don't like really care unless they are completely horrendous, then I'll care then. But if they're just like playing like normal Smash and they beat me, I'm like, oh, whatever, I lost to Tom, Dick and Harry. Yeah. But if Aero beats me, I'm like, fucking Aero, like, oh, cunt. So it is like, so if you kind of go from like that sort of top down method where you sort of make friends first, you incentivize making friends, being sort of polite and everything, then the competition can possibly grow almost from there, like organically itself.
100% agree. Yeah. And I would almost say like it's almost as important for having that like thrive for competitive mentality. Like they go hand in hand. Yeah. The socializing and the
having like content and just stuff to do and talk about the people who are not they have no ambition to be like a top 10 player or something is also really valuable.
Bar locals are good as well.
Yeah.
Just go have a drink, play Smash.
Having content for them, having the content be like accessible for them to like, even just like maybe they enjoy watching the competition even though they're not partaking in it and they don't want to be those players, but they just want to watch it as a spectacle. Go 2-2 in bracket themselves and then watch grands and have that be hyped up or whatever, you know.
It can be very difficult.
It can, of course, yeah.
Because like if someone is like, oh, like I want to play like friendlies with you or something, and obviously they're like the O2er and they never take a stock off you. It's like,
well, it's not even like it's not even useless for you, but it's I mean,
like, it is kind of.
Well, it is useless for you, but it's not even fun.
Yeah, like that's the thing, right?
But then I would argue just like play around them or whatever. You know, like
you just got to cop it for a while.
You can make it fun in your own way almost.
I mean,
or like, oh, I'm gonna try and free stock this person every single time.
I think just like don't you don't have to sit down and play an hour-long session with them.
No, of course not.
Give them a couple games or whatever, try some different characters, whatever, and then honestly, I was good with this. I was happy with this about myself. Is that I gave like actual feedback.
Yeah,
like sitting there playing some friends, like, hey man, like you probably should like stop rolling so much or something. And you say that as nice as you can. To be like, fucking noob, roller. What are you, a dog? You know?
Usually hitting them with the like, oh, would you like some advice or something? Yeah, like that. It's a safe bet because some people get really like.
That's the worst. It's just like talk like an NPC dialogue. You just start talking at them. It's almost a very American thing, but it's like you just like finish your friendly session and you're like, yeah, I think I kind of just adapted to your role and habits. Like I didn't fucking ask.
Yeah.
Like actually, go away. I'm trying to get out. Like But I was gonna say, I think like I said at the start, it's like really important. There's that other thing to be at the local.
I think so too.
Which is exactly like New South Wales. They're so good at the moment. I know you guys are kind of maybe a little bit out of the scene, but it's like, I think that they're making really good strides.
That's cool. Yeah.
Specific shout outs to Bonsai, who's actually here at Pismis. Really? They've like done like a huge thing with Nui specifically of like all these other things for like a really strong like just built community.
So what are some examples of the things
I mentioned the cruise and like emphasis on Amis earlier, and dinner and stuff like that. Your boys and
so what is your boys?
Well, for those who don't know at home, your boys, it's like you get a good player and like a worse player, I guess, and you kind of like their personal coaches that go through a little bracket with other people who are your boys.
Was that you? Someone talked to me about this. I guess it was you. Okay. Yeah, that's a great idea.
That's crazy.
Yeah, how it's like.
Yeah. Do they do it for a period of time?
Was this a recent?
I got no idea. Okay. I'm not in Nui. All I know is like.
Because if they're already doing that, what they should do is they should do that for like a 3-month period of time.
Oh, and see where they.
And then at the end of it, you have a bracket of the players, see how much they've improved. Make a day of it, even like invitational.
People who 0-2, you kick them out of the scene.
It's like the Spartans.
Play league or something.
It's like you are the weakest link. Goodbye.
Yeah. And you can even have a doubles bracket of the coach and the player.
That's cool. That's a good one. The doubles one.
I don't know the full extent exactly what they do. I only hear like rough thing. I've never watched one of the tournaments, but it's like I hear a lot of really strong positive feedback. And if you check the Oz Smash Awards,
it's a good idea.
Although things like that, unfortunately, they have their hiccups because if you don't have the right top players for that, if 8 out of 10 of them are like, I don't want to do that, I have no interest in doing that, then that just entirely falls apart.
It does.
You know what it's like? It's like do you know about the buddy system in primary school?
Yeah. I lost my cross country because of the buddy system. So.
Oh no!
I had Andrew something or other. I was like the fastest runner at the school, and then Andrew's fat. Let's be honest.
Come on.
He was fat, and I'm like way ahead of him. I'm like, Andrew, like you need to fucking come on, let's get moving. We gotta, and we were in first place. Well, I was in first place, and then I had to wait because you had to cross the line together, and I think we got like 4th.
Yeah. So, you learned a lesson.
But I didn't hold on to it. It's fine. Yeah. I did win though. That's good. Know that.
Yeah.
So I know about the buddy system. I'm familiar.
It's like that. It's like I've
experienced it.
Or I was gonna say like usually people who remember their buddy specifically is mostly because they had like someone who actually cared and put effort into it,
or a really traumatic experience.
Well, he had a crush on my sister and then made me lose the race. So
the rabbit hole goes deeper.
It seems it seems to be getting worse.
Yeah, he was nice.
Yeah. Sounds like big curfew. Let's loop all the way back around. Yeah. But I didn't finish earlier. But after BAM, I went to my first SAS with my friend who always beat me. I couldn't beat. And he'd always go a little bit farther in the bracket as well. And then
it is funny because we do ask all of our guests
And it never finishes, right?
Well, no. We asked them if you were the best player, and
No, I actually wasn't.
yeah, I think you're like the only one
Yeah.
so far.
Now, are you strategically not revealing who that
Jet
person
wasn't.
is,
Yeah,
or
like the best
were they
one.
a bit of a no-name by the end of?
I mean, like
Would people have heard of them?
name is Koifish.
I know the name actually.
Yeah,
It's like so they, it got to the point where it's like I was dragging them to tournaments because I'm like they have it. They genuinely had it. Jason said they had it. And everything. Went to like their first Rambat and took Ignis to game 5.
Wow.
And it's like he's playing ZSS, but he could play like 10 different characters, didn't have a main type of thing. Just like an absolute freak. And I'm like, and you got on the 40, and I'm like, oh my god, you're ranked. And he was like 22nd or something
That's
on the
so
first
cute.
one. And like I was losing to P9's Puff
Yeah.
at the same tournament. And then I found Rivals of Aether and fucked off to that game. I got top 3 in Australia eventually with that.
Massive.
And then I finally, like, he's like stopped playing and everything, but I was like still adjacent to the scene. So after I had my spat with Roa, I'm like, then Ultimate came out, we're gonna go hard on that. And then eventually I became better, but like, I don't know, like high school finished. And then I started like only going to tournaments by myself type of thing. And eventually got to the point where it's like, I'm probably better if we played, but we just didn't play. And yeah, now I'm a tournament person. However, when Ultimate did come out, and it's like late 2019 or whatever, my 2019 year was dedicated to year 12. Like I stopped competing. I dropped every hobby just to like get a really good score. So I missed out on all the cool shit, like Sunny Side Up, like all these other events. And then I came back like just before COVID hit. Yeah. And then it's like, oh, who's this new guy, Connor? Like MAST. I haven't seen you like ever. And it's like, oh yeah, I got ranked like 20th in Victoria when it started. Played Rivals. But it's like I missed out on this like huge important chunk of the game's period.
The golden era.
Yeah, essentially.
Ultimate era.
So now I'm living in my own kind of golden era, I feel.
That's cool.
That's
good. It kind of is nice sometimes to come back to those things when like some of the magic is sort of faded for other people and you get to come back and sort of experience it yourself.
Yeah.
To be honest, it's kind of nice. And that can also affect other people because they're like, oh man, this guy's actually enjoying the game.
Yeah.
What a dickhead. But then it kind of wears onto them. You know?
Well, that was like when Joss and Ari joined Smash in like late 2017.
Like
there was only less than a year left in the game, and they were like getting really into it, learning it. Like they were really keen about the game, and it did help just kind of revitalize the scene because people were getting really jaded about the game by that point.
What's crazy to me is like in my current position, I guess in the scene or whatever, it's like having that realization of like for Smash history in Australia or whatever, it's like people have like lived what I'm going through. Like everyone's had their like, oh, I bombed out on a major or got PR for the first time or like all these or meeting into status for the first time. True. And like it's like especially comparing myself to Jason, it's like after I can't remember which major it was, but one of the ones that happened this year, and I'm like, wait, Jason's done this like so many times, but it's only like my second, and I'm like having the time of my life, and I'm like, how like isn't this crazy? And he's like, yeah, but like it's like my first time, but it's like he's been here for ages, you know.
Well,
like,
you were mentioning like this, and I said it was cute getting on like the 40. Like, oh, dude, you're ranked.
Yeah, exactly.
And I was like, what the fuck? Like, what are you talking about? And then I thought back to like the first time I got on Queensland PR, and that was my objective. I was like, I want to be PR'd. And when I finally got on the list, I was like, that was such a big moment. And I had actually forgotten about that even mattered. Because after that, it was like first. That's what I was like, what are you talking about being ranked for? Like, it's stupid. But I had that moment, and all the other stuff you mentioned, going to your first major and all that sort of stuff. It's just so cool how everyone is living sort of the same, going through all those experiences.
It's really cute.
It is. It is,
and it's important to like, I guess, as a community figure or whatever, build that infrastructure such that experience is perpetual. But I will say that there's one annoying thing about the human experience is that the normalization of like good things is too quick. I fucking hate it.
Too quick.
Yeah. It's like probably for me after like this year, maybe next year, I like probably won't have these same feelings. It's like or eating or like having man, like anything that's like really like, or playing Smash even, like it's just not as fun, I imagine, for all you guys as to like when you were really in it at first.
Yeah,
I hate it.
Or
it's an awful fucking game.
Yeah, exactly. Like you're jailed or some shit.
Yeah.
It's like
it also makes a big difference when a new game comes out.
Yeah, that's true.
Because like that was the game I fell in love with and now I'm just like, I'm still playing Smash, but it's kind of like a hollow experience in a sense. It's just not the same, even if you can still like really enjoy the current game.
Yeah.
It's just, it's not that one that you fell in love with, and it does make a big difference.
I would love to do like a 2-hour podcast on like emotions related to Smash and all that sort of stuff, because there's so much you could talk about with that. And sort of how to recreate certain, but you can't recreate, and it's a pain. It's to try, you ruin it further.
Yeah,
to convince yourself.
At that point, you're purely running on mileage of competitive drive,
and
that's all you have really to go with it.
You've got to find something that you love about it.
Sounds like Bengal in America, mate.
So talk to me about Pismas. So you've succeeded through winner's side of the pools, right?
Day one has already happened.
Yep. So day one's done, and no upset there, at least for you.
Well, it was looking awfully. I wouldn't say shaky, but I literally ran off the stage
out the gate.
The gate straight away, and I'm like, is this how it's gonna happen?
It was really impressive, actually. Because he wasn't really anywhere near you. You kind of actually just ran off the stage and just like.
You did hit him on the way through.
I did, yeah.
That's where you say,
Thank you.
I'll give you that one for free. And you just refocus.
Yeah.
That's what you gotta do.
Well, I nearly won that game one as well.
I don't need it.
So it's like...
There you are. You give him a wink. I don't need that one. Yeah. You would instantly untilt if you did that, actually.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't on tilt because it's like...
I would
I kind of delayed my tilt until after the game because it's like... if I nearly won, I'm like,
okay,
I can just like... I could 2-0 this person normally. Not to...
Well, I mean, it's irrelevant. Like,
that's how you got to
if you just SD'd it like 0, and you're like, well, that was like last hit anyway.
Yeah. It's like doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But like, I wouldn't say I have like a mental issue, but like people have said that I have like one of the worst mentals in Australia. Mainly on this idea of like, I get so into my own head of like what the game ought to be rather than what it is.
Don't even try. Not with ult, especially.
Yeah. There's so many interactions where I'm like, well, this shouldn't have worked exactly like this, but it has. I know I've won this interaction, but it's...
I said that a lot today, actually. Like, I won that interaction. So I was playing a lot of friendlies with Aero because he was here, since like 11 or 12 or something. And we're playing all these friendlies, and when I don't usually verbalize them, but I think them a lot. And I think it's the same with Ben. I'm like... No, I won that. Like, I was the better player in that situation.
Yeah.
Or I'll say it in reverse. I was like, oh, you should have won that. That was unlucky.
Yeah. You know that you got to jump there, you call out, you go for it.
On the better
but their move just about 3 frames earlier.
I'll just be
I called you out there actually, but I just got hit.
I'll be grabbing on the other side of the stage, and it'll like grab them for whatever reason, and then it's like
it can be so subtle. It can be not even like like that one's you just give that example is like really obvious.
More
but like there are some where it's like so subtle, like a bit of space, and where you're like, no,
I was the one that spaced well there.
I outspaced that. Like I was better there.
Yeah.
And this isn't even like when I do it to Aero or you, I'm kind of toxic about it. But there's certainly a way to do this where you're like, we've talked about this, but like you can choose the right option and you can just you can just lose.
Yeah.
You can just be unlucky and you're like, well, but you have to understand that you played good Smash.
Yeah.
You're like, no, that was good, and you clear with that in your head. You're like, no, that was good. I will do more of that. That was unlucky.
And a lot of people will find it very difficult to realize that as well, where they literally look at like, I went 0-2 today.
Yeah.
I suck. That was worse than last week. Where it's like, no, well, the 2 players you lost to were both, the 2 players you lost to were both, they got 4th and 5th in this tournament, where last week you lost to 17th and 25th, but they don't see the difference.
People when analysing their games and watching VODs, this is like, I'm about to blow all your minds. You must do this. The game is not about, I hit them, so that was good, and they hit me, so that was bad. You cannot look at the game like this. You have to actually look at the actual like spacing, the movement options, what they're doing. You have to look at it close enough to understand what they're thinking, and then you analyze who's playing better. And that's how you do it. Because if you like, there's so many times where I land a hit or get hit, and I'm like, that was bad though. Like that shouldn't have worked. That wasn't good. Like
that was a bad nair.
Yeah, this example with Aero actually had this. So I'm playing Yoshi. I'm on the ledge, and I keep letting go of the ledge, double jumping and down airing on the shield, and it keeps hitting him. So I'm getting like 33%. And I'm like, I need him to start punishing me for this because this isn't good.
It's not good.
I can do this like once or twice a set. I can't keep doing this, but I keep doing it. But at least in this situation, I'm aware that it's not good. And so if I go into a bracket and start doing this, I have said to myself during this training session, this is bad. Yeah. So I'm not like committing it to memory. I'm not like, I'll just do this all the time. But people will have those situations. It'll work in friendlies. They'll go into a bracket and then some good player will just like fucking bomb them. And they'll be like, what the fuck? You know, it's like, you like, bro, you're playing friendlies. You need to like actually understand what's happening and learn like more appropriately.
It's almost like people who evaluate their decision making based on the outcome of the decision.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly like what it is. Yes,
what it was before you made the decision.
Well, the same when you have Twitch chat, like, oh man, they got destroyed. It was like a 2-stock or whatever. And it's like, well, if you actually watched like the pace of that game and how it all went, it was very competitive. Like, you know.
Like J Dizzle had a bunch of
J Dizzle MKLeo was a very competitive set
like,
of people that was
not
recognised at all.
It is. We've mentioned it like 3 times because this example always comes up as like this was no way he was totally in these games. I think he got 2-stock maybe twice or something, but he was in these games, man.
Yeah,
like for sure. So there's a lot of different ways to like think about it. We want to make more videos and content on like things like this and these sort of aspects of the game, but
But Pissmas is like really cool.
Yeah? So how are you thinking you're going to do tomorrow? So in winner side, do you know who you've got?
Yeah, I got Jodo, who won 3v3 Cruise today.
Right.
Like,
he was on a tear.
Actually just destroying everyone,
may have been the best player in this country today.
Yeah.
Like, not even...
Actually.
Like, if we all played...
Taking
if we did a
7
bracket today, he would have won.
Okay. Wait, where's he from?
New South Wales.
Okay.
Yeah. Sydney. Crom.
He's based.
Yeah, he recently discovered Crom.
Again. Yeah, depending on how that one goes, it's like fine.
Well, how is it going to go? What's going to happen? What's the set going to look like?
It goes like really close.
Who's
like, it'll go game 5.
So it's just a coin flip game 5?
Yeah, I reckon. Not to toot my own horn or anything, but like...
You think you'll win?
I think I'm okay.
You take it out?
He's alright. Like, in the past when we've played, it's also been like game 3 last set or whatever.
So
like,
if you're going to make this not a 5-gamer, if you want to win this in, you know, you want to 3-0 or beat him 3-1, what do you need to do to make that happen?
Gosh, you're asking me like...
Yeah.
You're like my coach getting ready for tomorrow.
Yeah, I want to know.
I'm really not happy with... Like, even when I was playing friendlies with this guy named Dugongs today, to like Roy Dido warm me up or whatever, I'm really not happy with how I'm trying to force certain confirms over like actually just being more patient, especially...
Letting it happen naturally.
Yeah. And what's really annoying is like... I don't know if you guys can relate to this, but like... I find the way I play the game, I have like a rotation of things that's in my toolkit.
Yeah.
And like, I know I'm capable of certain things, but I can't just whip it out in a set when I need to sometimes.
Okay.
So for instance, like I was personally getting overshot quite a bit in the Roy Dido, and I'm like, all right, well in the past I did something like this, but I can't quite do it now. You know what I'm saying? Right. It's like the way I play, it kind of shifts over time. But it's not to say that I can't do said things. It's more just like...
You can't summon it out of like...
No,
you're not in the right gear.
Yeah, it's like what kind of gear I'm in today.
Yeah.
So like some days I'll be like, ooh, I'm looking to do fairs in place and not go in. And then other days I'm like, let's get that cross up, go for constant tomahawks or whatever, like be in their face. It's like... It's not to say I can't switch between those gears, but it's like if it works or not.
Right.
I don't feel like I fully explained that well.
Okay. Well, do you want another chance? I'll give you another chance if you want one.
I think I need to think about it a bit longer.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what, I've got another topic to talk about while you think about it. I want you to dwell on that because we will revisit that because I want to know more about that.
Shit!
But let's talk about the Aussies in America. So, we know Strix is out loser's side at main stage.
Yeah.
And J Dizzle and DD are to play tomorrow.
Yes.
Now, DD...
Play each other?
No.
Okay.
Play in their pools. They haven't played their pools.
Because they already have done that.
Yeah, many times. So, firstly, DD had Big D, Ice Climbers, as his eventual player to get out of pools if he were to get that far, which has now been changed. It was then Tweak, and now it is Onan.
Right.
Probably the worst
one.
Probably the worst of the 3. Yeah. So, hey, we're going to see them.
Just lost to Jix.
Are we going to see the Meta Knight or what? Maybe? I don't know.
Maybe.
No.
That won't work. Well, you can't play Warrior. The Warrior. If you can't beat Jixes with Warriors, it's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
But
unless if Jackson's
Jix is a better player though.
Yeah.
Maybe.
No.
But here's the thing as well. Like, you don't know that Onan will even... Like, Onan might not be there. Like, he could very possibly lose. Like, upsets happen. Like, it's not going to be necessarily like the losers, like the final of the pool. Like, he could lose beforehand. So you never know. Maybe Didi might lose beforehand.
I think Bradley's mentality heading into the fact he's knowing he's versing Onan has already fucked him from the beginning.
Really?
Maybe.
Yeah. He's that type of player.
He should know. He should know how good he is. He should know that he can do it.
Yeah, but it's Steve specifically.
Let's talk about the 3 Aussies. So, here's my perception of the 3 of them. Strix is the most accurate, consistent of the 3.
Okay.
I feel like he stylistically works against everybody. He will play well against probably anybody basically in the world. I know he got like annihilated by Send today.
By who?
Send, the Ness.
Oh, yeah.
I believe this is going to happen. This is going to happen at some point against like this, just Smash.
Yeah.
But overall, I think there's a reason he's had such good results in Smash internationally, and he's just so consistent. He just plays like his game plan. He just does it on repeat consistently. He doesn't have. I don't think he has the God mode that DD has, but he's just so like precise and like a metronome almost in how he plays. J Dizzle is like, I don't know. He's like a mix between the three. He does the most options that I think are outright bad out of the three, even though he's the best player in the country. When I watch him do something, I was like, bad, not good, terrible. What are you doing there? That's dog shit.
Bad roll, bad dare.
But he can sometimes just go completely. He can freak it. He's got almost a bit of a clutch factor that I think they don't. And I think he's on the whole. This is totally my opinion. You guys disagree with me if you want. I think he's actually like the smartest of the three. And then DD has the DD factor where he's just like the best player in the world at certain points in time.
Yeah. Meta shift.
So as a Victorian, how do you feel about what I've just said?
Can you define what smartness means to you?
No.
He's saying that this is not smart.
You're saying so.
There's a way I can agree with his definition.
Is it the ability to solve problems, or like what? On the fly, like matchup?
Maybe it's like how I feel like he...
Well, he chose Young Link. That's pretty smart.
He plays the worst character out of the three of them. I feel like he deliberately covers many different options accurately. I think he knows, he's like maybe subconsciously, like you have three options, and I'm going to cover two of them. And he knows that very well, and he does that repeatedly.
Like when he down tilts a shield.
Yeah, I think he knows his setups and like this sort of stuff. Yeah. Even if he doesn't know it maybe consciously, it seems very good.
Deliberate.
Yeah.
So I would say he's probably the smartest in his preparation.
Okay.
As he's probably like the most deliberately practiced player in Australia.
Yeah. Okay.
If I were to break down the game in kind of his thing, it's like with all the possible scenarios a given way it can go, what are my exact answers to each outcome?
Right.
And then it's not looking to like beat out certain options like you mentioned. It's like more general option coverage and the scaling of risk reward on those types of option coverages.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because like rolling in against Young Link, for example, right? It's you'll see him deliberately like choose to go for like an up smash on a roll read versus like a drift back nair, depending on like this guy is like really attuned to risk reward as a concept, and he's got the exact answers to what types of things will go, if that makes sense, right? Which
the flow chart of like options.
Yeah, the flow chart. Yeah, which is what I mean by the preparation. Like it's like he's not necessarily like thinking about like exact options. I would say it's more like
he's not in their head, but he is familiar with the scenario, and what to cover and how to.
And then general anticipation, I would say he's really attuned for. I would say Strix is the smartest of the three. I think most people would agree with my statement. Probably because like I think his general understanding of the game is the best.
Yeah,
and
fundamental understanding.
I feel like if we were to put if we were to put guys in a hyperbolic time chamber with like MK, Leo, Gluttony, all the top players of the world, I think Strix is the one who's able to probably break it down the best.
Absorb all of it more.
Yeah.
I reckon DD takes the first set.
Probably.
If you have all of them playing MK Leo on repeat for like 1,000 sets, I reckon DD takes the first one.
Two things. And then DD, you just brought up something in my mind. And then DD is, probably absorbs it subconsciously the best. Yeah, it. However, I will say, we have a very funny question in our own podcast. Let's say have you guys watched the movie like Day Before Tomorrow? I can't remember what it's called. But like the guy's in a war against aliens, and when he dies, like the day resets.
Oh yeah, it's like it's got Tom Cruise, isn't it?
Tom Cruise, right? Yeah. All right. Basically, the question is like, what is your J Dizzle number? If you were to play J Dizzle
every day,
like 30 sets in a row, how many sets would you take? And Anthony says he can take a set off Jono in 30 sets, and I don't think he can. Very funnily enough.
That's okay.
But just the same way as if you were to enter an Oz major, for example, and you run that bracket however many times, and you retain the information every single bracket you play and then reset, how many times will it take for you to win that?
Oh man, what a great question.
That is a good
And
question.
why as well?
Ben,
Because
can you go first? Do you know? You have an answer?
I think I'd do it second try.
Fuck off. Second try. You're such a dog.
Yeah, maybe-
You can't say your character have the worst in
I
the
mean,
game.
I've
then just do
already done it
second
first try.
maybe Nick will just narrow into my down smash again. You know?
This move is with
Yeah.
me. Down smash. Actually, second try?
Yeah, I
I
think so.
hate you so much.
Well,
Okay.
I've done it already. So,
Why not first try then?
hey?
Why not first try?
Because it's 4 years in now.
Fucking two to FNS this week. Guy's gonna win a major tomorrow.
Dude. I literally... So there was a Japanese guy, Bihate.
Yeah,
He was there.
he made it out today.
And someone... He was like behind me and someone like mentioned like, oh yeah, that's Ben Gold over there. And he's like,
I saw the tweet.
really? He's like, and he went up to me like, are you really Ben Gold? I'm like, yeah, I am. It's like, oh, I'm from Japan. Like, you're really famous, so everyone loves you in Japan. like, can I get a
The
can I get a
Prime Minister
photo with
talks
you?
about you all the time.
Yeah. And then I literally like said it to Jason last night. Like, we did that. That was a really nice exchange. I kind of missed that actually.
Yeah.
And I looked at bracket. I'm like, man, this guy outplaced me.
That's so good.
That's so good, actually.
Yeah. And the magical mystique of Ben Gold is broken for him forever.
God.
He's like, this guy's actually shit.
Yeah.
All right. Back to the hypothetical. Okay. So all the best Australians are there. The whole country's like all the players are there.
Let's say it's like BAM plus,
Okay.
pretty much.
Do you have the same bracket?
Well,
Depends on
yeah,
the matchup.
yeah, sure.
All right.
Or let's say, there's more to this question.
All right.
Like I'll add.
Let me work this out first. I'm going to say I do it every day. I think like somewhere in the realm of 100 to 150.
All right, I think that's a reasonable response.
Yeah. Era?
I'm stuck in a time loop, I think.
Yeah. Oh, I will say, due to the mentality of some players, it's like
It could
not
get
to
worse,
name
it
names,
could get
but it's
worse.
like, will our resident O2 just be like there for an infinite amount of time because they just break one day and they're like, I'm never going to be able to do this.
No, I mean, they got to win eventually.
But it's like, yeah, that's true,
Yeah.
but not to them.
Yeah, I mean,
And it's
but
like-
you have actually eternity. You'll
Actually,
have to
turn in, you're like,
eventually,
well, fuck this.
you'll eventually
is
find some zero to death as like
That-
Bowser or something.
Sorry, yeah. I was going to say, like,
It's just infinite monkeys with infinite
typewriters.
typewriters.
Yeah.
I don't. Well, maybe for you, I don't think I'm a monkey with a typewriter. I can do it in 100 tries.
Is will infinite, though? Like, the desire to, like,
I mean,
escape? Like, is that...
well, what you do is you just don't even go to the tournament. You start
Yes,
labbing
yeah.
Steve.
I was going to say that.
You just
yeah.
start labbing Steve. Actually, unironically, you just start labbing Steve and Kazi, and you try to like cheese your way through the bracket.
That's how you spend your days.
Yeah, actually.
That's crazy.
But
So yeah, I mean, if I spend like do the days where if I'm labbing not entering the tournament, do they count as days of me entering?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think I can spend like 50, 60 full days. I'm probably gonna end up with the same number, like 50, 60 full days labbing Steve non-stop, and then maybe I can do it in like 40 to 50.
because you could just, like, DQ and lab. But or not to, like, change the hypothetical, but, like, if it really did exist, right, it's like, sure, all right, let's say I have a fucking freaky Steve now.
Right.
And I go into bracket, and let's say I have, like, Bin in winner's quarters, and I start playing him, lose, sure. Come back the next day, had to think about it, like, okay, this is what went wrong in this set, this is how I'm going to change it. But the problem is, as a mid-level player, I'll start playing it, but I only have 3 games with the different strategy before he also, like, changes what he does to the new strategy as well. Which...
So in this scenario, are they adjusting to you each day as well?
No.
No, but it's like, Ben's obviously still adapting to what I'm doing on the day.
Yeah.
Not to change the thing even further, but also, you know how it's like the case where it's like, like this upset happened, and that may also change like who you play in future or whatever. Like, oh fuck, like because this upset happened, there's like a wave of upsets that happen. So really, my idea is like, if you're stuck in this time loop, for you to get it eventually, you probably have to become the best player at that tournament.
Probably.
I changed my number to 5.
Because you probably
How you
have
gonna-
to be really...
How you gonna do it when I'm at the tournament?
Ooh.
You'll never beat me.
You'll never get to it.
Maybe not.
Probably have to become really good at adapting, and then you also have people to talk to as well.
Well, I mean,
that's the
but the
same.
thing is, as well, once you get knocked out of the tournament, you can spend the rest of the day at the venue playing friendlies too.
You get like
Right.
infinite advice from like
Yeah,
all the top players. So, and I think with that resource at hand, with infinite time. Like,
can I like blackmail or threaten people into like DQing against me? Can I do that?
That is, yes.
But
the thing is though is after you escape the time loop, like you exist in that reality.
Oh fuck. That sucks.
So if you've like gone on a murdering spree to win a tournament, and it's like, oh, I guess the rest of my shit's fucked.
Let's be honest, spending the rest of my life in prison on death row might be like better than playing Smash Ultimate for the rest of eternity.
Honestly, if you're stuck in the time loop for what it feels like eternity, and that's the way out, you know what? Like,
that's the play.
The sweet relief of death.
I think there was something else. Your question. Your
the other thing. What thing?
Well, the thing I was like, we're gonna come back to that.
Switching gears.
Yeah.
Wait, I wanted to quickly expand on this one final time.
All right.
The further development of this, because we're talking about people getting lost in time loops in fucking Australia.
You really do like this question.
But what about if it's an international major with every single best player in the world? I think I'm not escaping that time loop.
You will eventually escape it.
I'm stuck.
You'll eventually escape it. But for me, I'm giving myself. Like,
I become hollow.
Couple thousand.
No, because you have to think like you play it 350 times. That's a year. So how many years do I have to play the game
To be the best player.
level every day?
Yeah.
All day, every fucking day to be the best player in the world.
And that's really the question.
3 years.
So
I guess like 1,000.
Because this kind of loops back around to it.
Yeah.
Like when we talk about O2ers and like this guy will never get past this roadblock. It's like, well, will they escape the time loop? And if the answer to that question is no, then yeah.
You have to also consider is like how much time do you put into Smash right now? A couple hours a week. You imagine you're playing against the best players in the world
all the time,
fucking day for like 12 hours. Mate, you're going to improve pretty rapidly.
And these players aren't improving
well.
well.
No, they're not.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, probably like 1,000. Give me like a couple of years. Maybe not even that much. I don't know how good I get playing against MKLeo all day, every day. Maybe less than 1,000, I don't know. Yeah. Maybe it's more. I don't know. Gears shifting.
Not gears shifting. It's like...
What was the premise of this? This was...
I can't remember the question.
Oh, yeah. It's like dealing with certain options. It's like, I know how to deal with this option, but I can't do it right now. It's like, I know I'm capable, but like, I can't quite... It's not even like an executional thing. It's like you have this like kind of memory or blur for how to deal with an option.
Right.
And you're kind of trying to find exactly what it was that made it work exactly.
I can relate to that because I was playing against Ben last Saturday. And I was playing the best ultimate I've played. Okay. Comfortably. I'm getting like multiple 2-stocks on his K-roll and other characters. And I'm like, and actually it was amazing. Like the game, I understood it so much more. I didn't even know. I was like, I can do that and I just don't get hit there. Yeah. He's going to be there and I'm going to hit that and I can do that on the shield and I'm fine there. And it all made sense. I wasn't getting gimped. I was gimping him. And then played him a few days later and it's back to business as usual. Yeah. And I'm like, fuck, that's so frustrating. Yeah, and it wasn't like, and I was like, I was edge trapping him. I'm like, I was ledge trapping him. And I was like, how was I doing that? He's like, you're using back air. How was I using back air?
Yeah.
Like, in what way?
It's not that simple.
How is he getting up? I was like, hitting every get up with back air. How was I doing that? And there's just no way. There's no way to, because, if you're just like, I'll just use back air because that move is good and I'll just use that. It's like, that's not it. That's not how you were doing it.
But the most annoying part is like, you may have found something that you were doing unintentionally without realizing.
Yeah.
And the thing...
That's frustrating, yeah.
My biggest gripe with Smash... from like a mentality perspective is if something jab back air for instance, right? If something doesn't work that I think should work, is it because I'm technically improficient or is it because the thing actually doesn't work? And it's like that struggle between like
shielding crown or grabbing crown.
Can't. It's not possible. No, you can't. No, you can't.
Not
as any of my characters. Not as any of my... This is bullshit.
That is so troll. It's like such a barrier to problem solving because it's like, I'm going to try this again.
Yeah.
And it's like, what am I really adjusting here?
What do you
I'm going to try again.
You see that a lot in sets where like they keep doing the same thing. It's like they think they can get it. They think they're...
Maybe they know they can get
it. But then it's just not working.
But the biggest mindfuck is that if it does work and they think it works for this reason, but it's like because of a different reason.
Maybe they died badly or something.
Yeah. It's like, this should be working. It worked just before, I don't know.
It works because it was bad is my favorite.
It's so bad. It's so fucking valid. It's so true. It's not even just to shit on someone. It's like it worked because it was bad. It's so fucking true.
I agree.
Actually,
dude,
that option was not on your radar to cover.
Yeah.
Are you guys familiar with like Palutena, like down throw at 0?
Yeah.
So
at 0? What do you mean at 0?
So if a Palu down throws at 0,
okay.
Typically we want to like DIY way to like get to the edge so they don't like fucking nail you over and over, right? But what I do, I hold in, which gets them a hard punish, but since they always go for the most optimal thing on DIY, I like Roy frame 5 up there. Just
right.
And he's like, oh, why didn't you fucking combo started me from down?
It's like, what? The DI so bad. It's like,
it's like, why would you ever do this?
Smurf.
Like, this literally doesn't work. Like, this gets you. Yeah.
That does not apply. That is not that work.
I think it's so bad.
That's you being fucking good. Because you've actually accurately said like, because people do things and they're not conscious in thinking, oh, he's going to overshoot the net or try and get this punish.
It's bad because it's like but
it's a read,
the mix up is 90-10.
It's actually
a read.
Okay, sure. I'll give it a read, but you get what I'm saying. It's still
I get what you're saying. Yeah, but I don't. It's not like the same thing. I mean, that's kind of you being fucking good, to be honest.
It's like countering when you do a really bad recovery.
You're just reading like, all right, this is the natural course of events that they're expecting.
Yeah.
So you're choosing an option and a position that they're not expecting you to be in. Yeah. Even if in theory it could be a harder punish. Yeah. That's not what the punish they're expecting.
Yeah.
It mixes them up.
Yeah. I'll give it.
What's a good example of like it worked because it was bad then?
I don't know.
God,
game.
What was it?
The whole game.
Yeah.
For talking about it so fluently, we're struggling here for a bit.
I don't know. Down smashing Nick McKenzie on Smashball platform.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be working. He
That's true.
He was juggling.
Okay, I'll tell you what. If you just do like a fucking smash attack in neutral with no real understanding of why you're doing that smash attack and it hits. That's it worked because it was bad.
So I guess
like
your thing comes from intention.
Yeah, if you're like, oh no, they're going to like, you're playing K rule, they're like, oh, he's going to dash attack me, I'm going to down smash that dash attack, and I'm going to hit him with my down smash. You can't say that. That's just not because it worked because it was bad. That's a hard fucking read. But if it's like, oh, what if I down smashed?
Like,
okay,
Game
you're
& Watch
awful.
just like...
yeah, you're fucking awful. Like, that's obviously different. And there's a lot of shit like this. Or sometimes people do an option that's strictly bad and it's hard. You don't really know this because you don't know what's on in their head. But sometimes when you're playing, you can read the mind of the person you're playing with, and you know why they picked a certain option. And sometimes you can like, oh, you didn't read me. You picked that option. That was dog shit, and the only thing it's covered is what I did, and that wasn't good.
Yeah.
You know.
In my mind, I just have a mental image of Meister on the other side of the stage.
I was literally about to say this
with the Game & Watch up smash.
Yeah, I was about to say my biggest litmus test for like. Is like for when I bring up Meister to people and they think he's like bad, and I'm like, oh, well, you just don't get it actually.
That's like, so frustrating. That's fucking.
I won't say it to them, but it's like, well, you just spam smash attacks. I'm like,
Nick's a better player.
It's true.
I said it.
I think Nick is the best player in this country.
Well, we have this discussion every day.
Oh, you
like
do?
Every week. Well, it's DD.
I'm a big fan.
It's DD in form. It's DD in form. I think Nick is excellent. He's a fucking monster player. I think Nick. I think DD in form is not beatable for anyone in this country.
Inform is such an interesting word.
It is. So
it's changing the question.
It's peak versus consistency sort of
thing.
But I mean, if you want to talk about consistency, well, okay, it's J-Dizzle.
Yeah.
And then the conversation's over, so that's boring. So you talk about peak, it's DD. And so what is your rationale for why it's
I think my idea of what a good player is, he fits that the most.
Okay.
Okay. If you play him like that's a smart player.
Yeah. If I were to like create the perfect Smash player, it'd probably be in line with like
it
McKenzie.
Would resemble Nick the most.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Out of
if you could just like, I tell you what, you grab Ghost's ability to just pick up characters and actually just tier-haul his way. I'm not even being salty like the guy is.
That's what he says.
Yeah, he's fucking good
at
it. And you take like Nick's sort of intelligence and then just DD peak and you just combine that. And you have a genuine like internationally like super ranked player. Yeah,
We've created a monster.
You have a monster player. That's a good topic for another podcast. Is like combine sort of the best attributes from the best players in each region and then like.
That'd be cool.
Did we even say that about like the Roys in Ultimate? Yeah. It's like, if we just combined like how fast you are Connor with like the tech skill of this or like Shrix's intelligence, whatever. It's like, But it's interesting because then, ironically enough, if you see differences between you and yourself, like, isn't it bound that like we eventually kind of reach towards that path of like this combination? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I imagine like most people when they look at other people doing similar things, it's like what do they like win from that I'm not doing, pretty much.
Yeah.
And like
sometimes you just.
I think about like how good Roy players would be if they just stopped double jumping from the ledge and using Nair.
All right, well.
I mean, he hit you with that every time. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
He did. Yeah.
He did, but it worked because it was bad.
Yes.
It should get covered.
Which is so...
it should get covered. No?
I can't believe I've come onto a podcast to talk about my roommate all the time. But Anthony... No, I'm joking. He... Oh, my God, dude. He's like, Roy Ledge is unbeatable. Like, now from Ledge, I literally sit down, first friendly with Shmoo, do Roy from Ledge. It works. Cool. Like, literally next time on Ledge, I'm like, Roy Nair again. Works on Anthony every time. Just on back end. Straight away.
This is exactly the situation I've said where you play friendlies... Something's like working, and then you go to do it against another player, and you just get fucking blown up. It's actually the exact situation.
Yeah, but it's so funny for like how, like I play this person hours on end, days, weeks, like whatever. We live together, and this problem is still so current for them. And then I play like a slightly better, or probably a really good player, and it's just like just like that. That problem solved in one interaction.
Yeah. So you've like you shoot those challenges, you throw those puzzles at like Nick or something. And they just solve it so quickly. Yeah. And so you have to. It makes you play better though because you have to constantly adapt if you want to compete with it.
That's what you want.
So the best I ever played in Smash 4 was probably unironically playing against Nick. Not the BAM set. I actually didn't play very well.
Watched that back a few times.
It's not great. I was the only one to two-stock in that set. Make no mistake. There was one two-stock in that set. I did it. Just know that. Okay. Know that.
I just love the player camps.
Yeah, it's good. Well, we'll get into that some other time, but. Yeah, like when I played him at GVP, I think that's probably just about the best Smash I've played. And he was like sick Nick, he wasn't playing his best, fair enough, because he was a better player than me at that time. But that's probably the best I've played, just about. And random like sets of friendlies where I'm just being a freak. Okay. I wanted to go into like, quickly, because we'll wrap it up, but best you've ever played in Smash Ult, when?
Probably like the first 2 games against Dark Wizzy at Phantom.
Yeah, that's right. I think.
Did you win both of them?
I should have won game 2.
There we go.
Yeah.
Did you win game 1?
Yeah.
I think you would have won the set if you won game 2.
Yeah.
Is that recorded?
It was...
Yeah, it's...
Awfully, but it should be recorded somewhere.
I'd like to have a look at it. I'll have
like 10 frames a second or whatever.
Peak Ben.
Yeah.
What best ever you've ever played in Smash Ult?
My breakout performance at Super Sunshine 6, I beat Nick and Razy.
I'll clarify that. Like, I mean, that's your best performance. But was that the best you've ever played in Ult? Did you like? Or were they playing?
I watch it back and I'm like, damn, how am I actually able to set up these situations?
Right. Okay.
Like,
so you're happy with the play?
Yeah, I was like,
wasn't just them being dog shit?
Yeah, yeah. Right. I mean, for upsets like that to happen,
yeah, they're probably not playing their best. Yeah. As I said, when I beat him, he wasn't playing his best, but still probably the best I played, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And Aaron, do you have one best you've ever played in Ult?
Me versus Condog.
It might have been.
Just then.
There was some of it was actually very good.
Actually, just then.
It was actually crazy how much better some of that was than
literally
against
everything,
me all day. All day. Like
actually,
some of it was actually very good. Some of the option coverage was actually... You were pressing less buttons, by the way. That's why it was happening, because you're actually like watching.
I was standing there.
Yeah, standing is kind of crazy when you have like the most largest fucking moves of all time.
Yeah, I'm just reading the quick responses now that you picked it up. It's another message that settles it. Aristochats versus over Dumb For Real. Pack it up, boys.
Yeah, it's over. It is over. Yeah, just to clarify that, we have a set and exhibition match again. Well, fuck. It's been spoiled. I think it's been spoiled.
We can always post it.
I will release it before this. So yeah, Aristochats versus Dumb For Real podcast, Era versus Connor. And hey, the better podcast won. We'll just leave it at that.
I will not be retweeting this.
Thanks so much for joining us, Connor, and all the best for tomorrow. Hope you go deep into the brackets, to be honest.
Yeah.
You going to do that?
We'll see how we go. I'm feeling really fucking tired, so.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
it's fine.
It doesn't start
only
till 12.
Starts till 12.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for joining us, everybody. And there should be 2 more episodes of the podcast left this season. Yeah, you got something to shout out or something to say?
Yeah, actually. We have a podcast. I say we. I have a podcast. The first podcast, actually, before this happened. The Dumb For Real podcast.
The Dumb For Real podcast.
More Victorians.
Name plagiarized.
Sure, I'll give it up. Oh no, we're not as like
unknowingly. Yeah.
I don't know what we're kind of different. We're not like as thoughtful / focused discussion. We're more like current events, I guess, and like memes.
I want to do like more crossovers and stuff. To be honest, like get maybe Aaron and Ben on there, or get some of your.
I mean, Ben's been on like once or twice already. Yeah, true. So, and you've been on.
We need
but
to
not you, mate.
Exhibition set between all the like the 2 crews and stuff and do a whole bunch of stuff.
We just got to come to Victoria, so.
No, it won't be happening. Well, it's time to go.
See Jason?
Never in my life.
He comes here. Jason. I'll go if he's not in the state. That's when I'll go and see. Thanks so much, guys. I hope you enjoyed the episode, and I'll catch you all next week. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
See you next time.
Don't ever do that again.
Wait.
What?
Ben says he's on his way.
No! Condog, you don't understand how much I hate this individual. You can't get away with this.
Tell him he's not coming.
You can't do this, man. You can't do this.